Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Through the Dragon Glass. We are on Chapter 13 of The Secrets of the Federal Reserve by Eustace Mullins. But before we dive into that, I want everyone to remember to hit that thumbs up, notification bell, subscribe button, leave a comment, and tell a friend about me. Please leave a comment. It doesn't even have to make sense. It can be letters, numbers, symbols, gibberish, whatever you want. You can yell at me, call me dumb. I don't care. Leave a comment. I believe because if you leave comments on people's videos, it shows that more people are interacting and it'll show up higher up when you search for certain things like the Federal Reserve. So help me out with that, guys. All right, let's get started. The Federal Reserve is named to give the illusion it is a government institution, but they are not. It is run by evil men who only care about themselves and other bankers. In reality, it is a foreign central bank. When Henry Ford was asked about the Federal Reserve, he said, "The one aim of these financiers is world control by the creation of inextinguishable debts. The truth is, the Federal Reserve Board has usurped the government of the United States by the arrogant credit monopoly which operates the Federal Reserve Board and the Federal Reserve Bank." On January 13, 1932, McFadden introduced a resolution that indicted the Federal Reserve Board of Governors for criminal conspiracy. Whereas I charge them jointly and severely with the crimes of having treasonably conspired and acted against the peace and security of the United States, and having treasonably conspired to destroy a constitutional government of the United States. The resolution failed, so McFadden tried to impeach President Hoover.
Therefore, today, I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry.
McFadden later introduced another resolution to impeach the Secretary of Treasury, two Assistant Secretaries of the Treasury, the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and officers and directors of the Federal Reserve Bank for causing the Great Depression. This resolution was shot down before it could hit the floor. McFadden was labeled insane and was overwhelmingly defeated in his campaign to be reelected.
But tonight I say we must move forward, not backward, upward, not forward, and always twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom.
The Federal Reserve cannot be held accountable. They are appointed by the president and their salaries are paid by private stockholders. Yet the government gives the Fed use of its billions of dollars of credit and gives the Fed the ability to issue currency while making money off of every dollar printed. All central banks have the power to issue currency. This means the people do not own their money and the Fed prints currency for profits. The Federal Reserve is the reason for massive wealth in the United States and posed a serious threat to European central banks. It attracted a large amount of gold, and soon thereafter, the majority of the world's gold was put into the Federal Reserve. In order to send gold back to European central banks, Wall Street bought large amount of government securities at low interest rates. This created a large sum of new money and caused the stock market to crash.
We're bankrupt. The stock is at zero.
But I have 52 million shares. What's 52 million times zero? And don't tell me it's zero!
Though the Federal Reserve was responsible for the Great Depression, they did nothing to alleviate it. During the dark years of the early 1930s, the Federal Reserve saw the American people suffer and did nothing about it. It could be argued doing nothing to ease the Depression is worse than causing the Depression. Money needed to circulate again because all the money used to buy food and pay rent was sucked up by Wall Street. In many areas, people started to print their own money, which represented obligations that people would fulfill. The Federal Reserve had the power to issue millions of dollars when it suited them, yet during 1931 and 1932, the Fed did nothing of that sort.
What'd you say you do here?
This was done because Wall Street bankers no longer wanted Herbert Hoover to get a second term. Wall Street wanted Franklin D. Roosevelt to ride on a white horse and be the savior of the American people. The nation had to suffer and starve until 1933 for money to be put back into circulation. It's as simple as that. As soon as Roosevelt became president, the Federal Reserve started purchasing government securities and created $10 million of new money ending the impoverished state of the country, and companies started hiring again.
What's that?
Your permanent career assignment.
Delivery boy? No! Not again!
The Banking Act of 1933 gave Roosevelt increased power to control the nation's finances. The act extended the number of terms of office of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors to 14 years. New presidents could no longer appoint a majority to the board or start a new monetary policy. The act also repealed the Glass-Steagall Banking Act of 1933, which stipulated that a banking house could not be on the stock exchange or be involved in investment banking. The clause stopped banking houses from lending money to corporations they own. The Banking Act of 1933 ensured that all Federal Reserve earnings went to the banks and not to individuals. The Federal Reserve increased their assets from $143 million in 1913 to $45 billion in 1949, and the money went entirely to private stockholders of the banks. The Banking Act of 1935 permitted the Federal Reserve to loan to industries. This put a halt to banks giving out large loans because the Federal Reserve could give out larger loans. Alright guys, I want to thank everyone for listening. This is part 1. There's going to be part 2 of the 1930s. I probably forgot to mention that at the beginning. But with my title, it says part 1, so you guys should be able to figure that one out. But I want to thank everyone for listening. Hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, notification bell, leave a comment, tell a friend about me. Yet again, it is very important to just leave a comment. Doesn't matter what it is, just leave a comment. Alright guys, thanks.